Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
And this is Mac.
And this is our review for the Haru Banzuke, which came out just yesterday. And let's dive right into it by first saying this is pretty decent prediction for me. All of the discrepancies that I had between my version of the Banzuke and the actual Banzuke that we're about to go over can fall down to 6 individual mistakes. 5 were done by me and 1 egregious one by the Banzuke committee.
That's a coincidence because I was going to sum your life story into 6 individual mistakes.
It began long ago.
Yeah, 5 mistakes by me and 1 by my parents. The one to have me.
The conception part?
Yeah. That whole mistake.
That was where it all went wrong.
Yeah,
Indeed.
It was downhill from there, and downhill fast. Speaking of downhill fast, we have our Yokozuna who are inching nearer and nearer. Ow! To retirement.
Little on point there.
I mean, hey, if either one of them would have participated in any of the past 3 tournaments, it wouldn't be a salient point. But it will remain as it has for the past 4 basho, Hakuho on the east side and Kakuryu on the west side. I think things are a lot more hopeful this time for them participating, but we'll talk more about that in our actual Haru preview. We only care about where they are on the rankings in this podcast.
It's before the basho starts, which means that, yes, there is still that naive idiot hope in all of our brains.
Yeah. Moving on down to the Ozeki rank, Shodai is going to be your East 1 Ozeki, Asanoyama is going to be the West 1 Ozeki, and Takakeisho is going to be the East 2 Ozeki. Takakeisho having the worst record out of those 3. He's the lowest ranked, and Shodai and Asanoyama had the same record last time, so they will maintain their same order relative to each other.
According to Sumo DB, it's showing Shodai and Asanoyama swapped last time?
5th member of the podcast, Sumo DB.
Nope. Shodai was Ozeki 1 West, and Asanoyama was Ozeki 2 East. So Shodai was ahead of Asanoyama.
Oh, I'm sorry. So they both leapfrog Takakeisho. That's
Correct.
What's going on. They're in the same order, but okay, that makes more sense. Now that I can read and remember that, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then we will go to Sekiwake, where on the east side we will have Teru no Fuji, and on the west side we will have Takanosho. And as everybody predicted at where's Daisho? There should be
Did
Sekiwake
you do a typo again?
West 2. There should be a Daisho ranked at Sekiwake. Why is there no Daisho?
Didn't he win a tournament and get multiple prizes? Doesn't that get you up to Sekiwake?
Didn't he have a 13-2?
Yeah, he had a 13-2 record from Maegashira 1. Every other time that a Maegashira 1 got 13 wins, they ended up ranked as Sekiwake. Every other time that a Maegashira 1 through 4 won the Yusho, they ended up at least Sekiwake in the next basho. So, I don't know. There must be some sort of mistake. We'll just move on to Komosubi, and we'll just assume that Daisho fit right in there at Sekiwake West 2. So, Komosubi East, we have Takayasu. Komosubi West, we have Mitake Yumi. And God damn it, those son of a bitches. The goddamn Banzuke committee at Komosubi West 2 is somehow Daisho.
It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Defies all precedent and logic. So this is mistake number 1, as we're going to keep track. And this is the one that is not my mistake. This is 100% on the Banzuke committee. Daisho went 13-2. He won the Yusho. He was the 11th overall ranked Rikishi on the Banzuke. And because he went 13-2 and won the Yusho, he jumped a total of 1 spot to now be the 10th overall ranked Rikishi. He is ranked behind Takayasu and Mitake Yumi. two guys that were just directly in front of him previously. They both had 9-6 records, very, very nice records, but those records are 4 wins less than Daisho.
And noticeably absent of an Emperor's Cup that comes with a 13-2 Yusho.
Yeah. And so they just moved. I don't know.
This puts him at 23 wins in the last 2 tournaments. He could conceivably hit the record required for an Ozeki promotion without even being a Sekiwake.
Yeah, that's just 0.0% chance that he is on an Ozeki run at this point. If they didn't move him up to Sekiwake, they are not. I don't care if he goes 15-0. If he is not,
you say
Sekiwake, no.
You say that, but if he got 15 wins, that would put him at 38 wins in 3 tournaments in the Joy.
Show. No way.
No. I'm just saying, it's absolute friggin' nonsense that he isn't at the Sekiwake rank, because he could it's obviously improbable. But let's say it happens. It's not a 0% chance that he goes 15-0. It's pretty friggin' close, but it's not a 0% chance. If he goes 15-0, 38 wins in 3 tournaments in the Joy, and isn't promoted to Ozeki, would be just it's absurd. Why would they not put him at Sekiwake here? It's just setting us up. It's one of those things where had they set him at Sekiwake, boom, 7-8. Yeah, it's Daisho. Yeah. That's that for sure. The issue would be settled. But because it's Daisho, he's only a Komusubi right now, which means he's probably going to screw with stuff in an uncomfortable way, and he's going to get enough wins where he should be promoted to Ozeki if it weren't for this silly ranking system.
Yeah, I mean, you could have argued that, and I did argue that his 10-5 record a couple basho ago when he was Maegashira 2 should have gotten him up into the Komusubi ranks, which in the past totally would have. So this basho right now could have been his second basho in the Sanyaku ranks. But yeah, they put him at Komusubi. So between this Banzuke and that Hatsu Banzuke, where I mentioned we could have had 4 Komusubi ranks, it just shows you how hard it is in this current era with this current Banzuke committee to open up new Sanyaku ranks. And pretty much if you want to create a new Sekiwake rank, you either have to be an Ozeki that is dropping from the rank, or you already have to be ranked Komusubi and get 11 plus wins, like Daisho did just a few basho ago. He was Komusubi, got 11-4 record. He did jump up to Sekiwake, but they're not going to allow that same privilege to Maegashira Rikshi, and I don't know why, because really the difference between Takayasu and Mitake Yumi and Daisho in this tournament is nil. The Komusubi name doesn't mean literally nothing. It means more money and probably more expectations, and so you're fighting with different weight on your shoulders. But in all honesty, you're fighting the same people. It makes almost no difference on the ring, except if you really want to take into account the mental burden of being a Sanyaku Rikshi.
Yeah, and it's not for example, when we started watching sumo regularly, there were 3 Yokozuna and 4 Ozeki. It's not like those ranks are crowded. It's not like we have to put up artificial barriers to keep people out of those championship ranks. I don't get it.
It doesn't make sense.
It's baffling that I'm fighting this hard to argue in favor of Daisho.
Yeah, I know.
A guy who I can't even picture the face of.
I think that's the ultimate issue right now is we're defending somebody like Daisho. No disrespect, but Daisho.
Maybe a little disrespect, but very little.
It's like I was
decreasingly, yeah.
It's like I was telling Jake before we pressed record, is that with this absolute abomination of a rank for Daisho, and if he does good, if he puts up 10 plus wins, I might legit just become a Daisho fan just because of him sticking it to the Banzuke committee.
Out of
sheer
spite.
precedence.
Yeah. It won't be anything that Daisho did that made me become a fan of him. Well, I mean, he won the U-Show and put himself in this position. But it'll be mostly because the Banzuke committee screwed him so hard that I have to cheer for him to overcome.
Wait, when did Daisho win a U-Show?
I don't even know that happened. I honestly not sure who we're talking about.
What's his name?
Yeah. So something
Oh,
weird
that's so
happened
weird.
at
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. What were we talking about again?
The Magashira. M1?
Yeah. Maegashira 1. So on the east side, Takeda Fuji is going to be your Maegashira 1 East, and on the west side, you are going to have Onosho. I got both of those predictions correct. The only predictions that I've gotten wrong so far was the Komosubi rank with Takayasu Mitakayumi and a name that escapes me right now. Technically,
You thought that this nameless void that we all suddenly forgot would have jumped up above those two. So like you had Takayasu and Mitakayumi at Komosubi, but with somebody above them rather than below.
Yes. So how we do our scoring, like I have Takayasu Mitakayumi one spot lower in like the actual order of things than they are in the actual Banzuke. So despite me having Takayasu and Mitakayumi at the exact right positions, by our scoring, I was off by 1 point on both of those guys, and Daisho by 2 points because he is at Komosubi West 2 and not Sekiwake West 2. So guess the Banzuke, Takayasu Mitakayumi, exactly correct predictions from me. Our scoring, not as much.
You know, the legit shit where, you know, you score based on the order of things, not based on just nameless, useless titles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
At Maegashira 2, we have Hokuto Fuji on the east side and Wakataka Kage on the west side. A little bit of a sigh of relief for me because, as we guessed, they did leave Wakataka Kage at his previous rank. They had stated prior to the Banzuke coming out that people that were absent due to COVID would not necessarily have their rank frozen from the previous Basho, and that there was rumors that some people moved down as far as one full rank. And their stated reason for that was due to fairness for other Rikishi. And as we talked about extensively on the preview episode, we could not find any fair way that you could justify moving down Wakataka Kage. Luckily, we were correct in that, and so Wakataka Kage will remain at Maegashira 2 West. At Maegashira 3, on the east side, we have Meisei, who is going to be jumping up 5 ranks after an 8-7 record. This is an incredibly lucky part of the Banzuke to be in because on the west side, you have Shimano Umi, who jumped up 7 ranks after a 9-6 record.
Nonsense.
Absolute bonkers, but as we discussed on the preview, there's really nothing else that could have been done here. But this does bring me to mistake number 2, as I had Kiribayama taking the Maegashira 3 West spot ahead of Shimano Umi. Kiribayama was 8-7 for Maegashira 8, and Shimano Umi was 9-6 for Maegashira 10. So mathematically, they both deserve to be the same rank. That rank just happened to be Maegashira 7, not Maegashira 3. And I should have gone with Shimano Umi ahead of Kiribayama since they deserve the same rank, but Shimano Umi had the better record, which is kind of the rule of thumb. Honestly, just a mental slip up on my part. Just 2 easy bullseyes that I just missed for sheer stupidity.
You're on thin ice, mister.
But that wraps up our Joy, the top 16 Rikishi. So we will move on to the mid Banzuke. We're at Maegashira 4 East. We do have Kiribayama. And on the west side, we will have Miyogiryu. So Miyogiryu is jumping up 5 ranks for his 8-7 record. So Meisei and Miyogiryu are both going to be... Oh, I'm sorry. Meisei only jumped up 4 ranks after an 8-7 record. So Miyogiryu jumped up. Yeah, Miyogiryu jumped up 5 for his 8-7 record. So he is getting he is going to be a luck of the Banzuke candidate. Kind of missed it with Shimano Umi. He is also a luck of the Banzuke candidate, jumping up 7 ranks after a 9-6 record. Also of note, this will be a career high for Shimano Umi. Just cleaning up a little bit of notes that I missed from Maegashira 3. But yeah, Miyogiryu continues to be an extremely lucky recipient of Banzuke rankings, whether he barely drops after like a 4-11 record, or he literally in the last 2 Bashos, he dropped 4 ranks for a 4-11 record and jumped 5 ranks for an 8-7 record. It just is because of where he has landed on the Banzuke. It's not like he is getting any preferential treatment. It is kind of crazy coincidence that that's happened, though.
So he's increased his rank on a combined record of 12-18.
It would appear so.
Wow.
Jesus.
Let me double check that math there. Because, yeah, he was Maegashira 5 in November, had a 4-11 record, dropped to Maegashira 9, had an 8-7 record, jumps up to Maegashira 4. So, yeah, he's a net positive for that 12-18 record.
Jeez.
Oh, man.
Nothing
Miyagidyu.
matters.
Luck of the Banzuke candidate for Miyagidyu.
The Banzuke is a lie.
Can we just give it to him now?
I don't know. That is really going to make me rethink who I said is the winner of that award. But let's go to Maegashira 5 first, where on the east side we will have Endo, and on the west side we will have Okinoumi. Might sound familiar for those two guys because these are the exact same ranks they occupied in the Hatsu Basho. They both had 7 and 8 records, which is just the ointment you need to put on this kind of scarred Banzuke section.
It's like acceptable though. Like 8-7 or 7-8. It's acceptable to leave them where they're at.
I don't think I've ever seen an 8-7 stay, except like in like the Komusubi kind of region where you can't
fair enough.
force open. But yeah, 7 and 8. We've seen plenty of instances of 7 and 8 Rikishi not moving at all. Once again, predicted these exactly. So this helps us prevent any further 7 rank jumps for 9 and 6 Rikishi or 5 rank jumps for 8 and 7 Rikishi. Just kind of makes things make a little bit more sense as we go further down the Banzuke. At Maegashira 6 on the east side, we have Tamawashi, who is dropping 2 ranks after a 6 and 9 record. One of only a few reasonable demotions and promotions in this part of the Banzuke. And then we have Ichinojo jumping up 6 ranks after his 9 and 6 record. So thank you, Endo and Okinoumi, because he is not jumping up 7 ranks to Maegashira 5, which if either of those guys had lost one more match, Ichinojo would have been Maegashira 5.
If I recall, he may be getting a benefit from being the reigning GSB champion.
That is heavily accounted for in where you end up in the rankings. So yeah, I believe that does hold water there.
Ooh, nope, never mind. Hokuto Fuji.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Hokuto Fuji beat Ichinojo on the last day of the January tournament to maintain the title.
But yeah, I mean, Ichinojo was still a very proud defender of the GSB belt, and so they gave him a little bit of benefit of the doubt there. Which
he had
obviously
4 title wins.
Yeah, which obviously I accounted for as I got that prediction correct. I knew the weight that the GSB belt holds.
It's very, very dense metals, yes.
Yeah.
Lots of weight.
Let's move on to Maegashira 7, where we're going to hit mistake number 3. On the east side is Tochi Noshin. He is going to be a Luck of the Banzuke candidate. So mistake number 3 is underestimating Joy Bias. I did not think they would only drop Tochi Noshin 3 ranks after his 4-11 record. So we just talked about Miyagidyu dropping 4 ranks for a 4-11 record. Here's a guy dropping 3 ranks after a 4-11 record. I thought Koto Nowaka would get this spot. He had a 10-5 record for Maegashira 15. He was the next logical guy that's moving up the Banzuke to take this spot. But the Banzuke committee clearly did not want to rank him ahead of someone who faced the stiffer competition in the Sanyaku ranks, even though he fared much more poorly overall. So I'm guessing because of the difference in competition of who those two guys faced, I guess they decided Tochi Noshin deserved to be ahead of Koto Nowaka here.
Yeah. This whole area just screwed with me.
This was the toughest part of the Banzuke to get correct, in my opinion, and this is where most of my misses came and my biggest misses. But one of those misses was not Maegashira 7 West, where Kagayaki, I did accurately predict the lucky fall of Kagayaki, only 1 rank dropping after a 6 and 9 Basho. So I correctly guessed that Hoshoryu's 9 and 6 record from Maegashira 14 would not be enough to jump him ahead of the much higher ranked Kagayaki. I just didn't carry that logic through for Koto Nowaka and Tochi Noshin as well. It is interesting, though, that by doing this ranking as they have it, And I feel like they had to put Tochinoshin ahead of Kagayaki here because I don't think they wanted to drop Kagayaki only like a half rank from Maegashira 6 West to Maegashira 7 East after a 6-9 record. I don't think they would go that far. But by doing this, only dropping Tochinoshin 3 ranks and ahead of Kagayaki, they're saying that a 4-11 record for Maegashira 4 deserves to be ranked ahead of a Rikshi that was 6-9 from Maegashira 6, which by the math and by most any other Banzuke you look at does not line up.
I agree. I concur.
So, yeah, some very interesting mental gymnastics that they're going through here.
It's the Chewbacca ranking. It does not make sense.
It does not make sense.
As we talked about with Leonard on the previous Banzuke review episode that we did, Kagayaki just gets this treatment all the time, which is one of the reasons why I was so comfortable only dropping Kagayaki 1 rank, because it's Kagayaki and he just gets this lucky all the freaking time.
No.
It's his gold Mawashi and his connection to former Yokozuna Wajima.
Is he wearing the gold Mawashi anymore, though?
No, but I can't think of anything else remarkable about the man.
As we've hit on in every Basho review episode for the past year, there is nothing remarkable about Kagayaki, except for his unremarkableness.
Which is remarkable.
Exactly. Moving on to Maegashira 8 East. Here's where I had Koto Nowaka landing, so 1 rank behind where I thought he should be. But he is at a career high for himself. And then at Maegashira 8 West, we'd have Tobizaru. And so Tobizaru is getting the same kind of treatment as Kagayaki did, dropping just 1 rank after his 6-9 record, something else that I also accurately predicted there. Maegashira 9 on the east side, we have Chiyo no Kuni. So Chiyo no Kuni is our second COVID Rikshi and the second one whose rank was gloriously unaffected. And then at Maegashira 9 West, we get to mistake number 4. So mistake number 3 was I underestimated Joy Bias. Mistake number 4 is I overestimated Joy Bias. So this mistake is going to kind of ripple all the way through Maegashira 9 West to Maegashira 11 West. And what I saw was Kodo Shoho, who was ranked Maegashira 3, but he had that 2-13 record. And the people he was competing with for his rank were like Hoshoryu at Maegashira 14, who had a 9-6 record. So similar to my reasoning for why I thought Kagayaki was kind of going to end up where he did, because I didn't think that they were going to rank some lower people ahead of him. I thought since Kodo Shoho was up in the Joy, he was not going to be ranked below a Maegashira 14 Rikshi who only went 9-6. Obviously, I was wrong. So what's going to end up happening is I had Kodo Shoho ending up at Maegashira 9 West in my prediction. He actually ends up at Maegashira 11 West. So everyone between those 2 ranks is going to be shuffled up by 1 rank because just instead of putting Kodo Shoho at the beginning of this group of people, you put him at the end, move everybody up. I had them all in the correct order except for Kodo Shoho. So everybody's just going to be off by a little bit. For the most part, there is 1 little wrinkle in that. But yeah, so that's mistake number 4, and that affects like 6 guys. And then get to the bottom of the Banzuke section. And Hoshoryu is going to be at a career high, jumping up those 5 ranks after his 9-6 record from Maegashira 14. Bottom of the Banzuke, Maegashira 10 East, Midori Fuji, also at a career high. He also had a 9-6 record, only jumping up 4 ranks for him from Maegashira 14. And then we have Ryuden, who is at Maegashira 10 West. So Ryuden is ranked 2 spots ahead of where I had him. I had him at Maegashira 11 West, but that is because Chiyo Tairyu being locked in at Maegashira 11 East and being unable to kind of shuffle ahead because they weren't going to promote a guy who sat out of the tournament. So if I had Koto Shoho in the right spot, I would have had all these guys in the right spot. But since Chiyo Tairyu was locked in, Ryuden is more affected than the other guys. And then we get to Maegashira 11 East. Chiyo Tairyu is our 3rd COVID Rikshi, and his rank also gloriously unaffected. And this is where we have Koto Shoho, my biggest miss on this prediction. He ends up dropping 8 ranks after his 2-13 record, a full 2 ranks below where I thought he was going to end up. Then we get to Maegashira 12. On the east side, we have Aki Seiyama, who is going to be at his career high at age 35. And yeah, well, this whole rank is oof, because on the west side, you have Aoyama. He is dropping down, I believe, 2 ranks after a 6-9 record from Maegashira 10. And somebody on Twitter pointed it out. I don't want to say I'm not going to say who it is because I don't remember who it was off the top of my head. I don't want to credit the wrong person. But they said, yeah, Maegashira 12. That's the body rank. That's like the peak body rank.
Physique.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was kind of scared in January when Aki Seiyama went 6-0. He was legit in the Yusho race by the time that we did our midway of that basho. That was uncomfortable.
I wonder if he would have become as beloved as Tokushoryu did.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, probably.
Tokushoryu seems like a lot more of a goofy, personable personality, though.
It's true, but I mean, we haven't seen what Aki Seiyama is like after he wins a Yusho.
And I hope we never do, but like... But like Tokushoryu at least has like multiple facial expressions. Like Aki Seiyama is just like intensely bored at all times, including during matches.
But he does have that thing before every match where it looks like he's going to fall over flat on his face.
Meh.
That's
as part of his
and he like
pre-match
windmills
ritual.
the arms to like stay balanced.
Yeah. I really want to believe that he's honestly just seconds away from falling onto his face every single day, and that it's not a part of the ritual.
Oh, Lord.
Maegashira 12 does bring up mistake number 5, where I was overvaluing the higher ranked Rikishi again. So we knew both of these guys were going to be ranked at Maegashira 12 since they both deserve to be ranked at the same rank. But I wasn't sure which order it was going to be, Aki Seiyama versus Aoyama. Some past precedent said the guy that had the better record of the two would be ranked higher. Some other precedent said that the guy that was previously ranked higher would remain ranked higher. And so I went with the guy that was ranked higher would remain higher. And I was wrong in this case, as I had Aoyama on the east side and Aki Seiyama on the west, and that was flip-flopped in the actual version. So just small misses for both of those guys there. Maegashira 13, we get back to some more perfect predictions on my part. On the east side, we have Terutsuyoshi just dropping down 1 rank after his 7-8 performance from Maegashira 12. And on the west side, we have Chiyoshima, who is our 4th COVID Rikishi and the 4th to keep his previous rank. So very luckily, so far, no drama as it comes to the COVID Rikishi on this Banzuke. I think that could have caused even more angry people. I think they knew what they were doing with the Daisho, and so like, okay, we can't mess with the guys that were affected by COVID.
There's already people that are going to be pissed.
Yeah. They knew exactly what they were doing. At Maegashira 14, on the east side, we will have Koto Ueko, who is probably the most perfect dropper in this the most perfect Rikishi that is like dropping the amount that you'd want them to, as he dropped 3 ranks after his 6-9 record. Perfect by the math, exactly where you want him to be. I think him and Terutsuyoshi are like the only guys that fit that in this Banzuke.
Confirmed.
Yeah. And then at Maegashira 14 West, you have Tsurugisho. So he is rocketing up from Juryo, jumping 10 ranks after his 12-3 Yusho in Juryo. So you see a 12-3 Yusho in Juryo nets you 10 ranks, whereas a 13-2 Yusho in Makuuchi nets you 1 spot up the rankings.
Cool.
Looking at you, Banzuke Committee. We're looking at you.
Obviously, very different situations where it's a impenetrable logjam for Daisho bumping up against the Sanyaku Rikishi.
That impenetrable.
No.
But he could have penetrated a little bit further.
Phrasing.
I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
At Maegashira 15, on the east side, you have Yutakayama, who's going to be a Luck of the Banzuke candidate. And this is mistake number 6, my final mistake, my most grievous mistake. Forgetting how much the Banzuke committee really hates the Rikishi coming up from Juryo. So Yutakayama is not going to be dropping at all. So similar to Endo and Okinoumi, he had a 7-8 record, and he is staying put. And apparently the Banzuke committee did not think any Juryo Rikishi deserved to be ranked ahead of him. So you have Hide
Except
no Umi,
for Tsurugisho,
except for Tsurugisho,
who we
yeah.
just talked about. Except for like literally the only one we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
Any of
That
the
one?
other ones. Shut up.
He has a point.
And then we'll have Hide no Umi, Magashira 15 West. So Hide no Umi's jumping up 7 ranks after an 11-4 record from Juryo 6. I honestly don't know why you couldn't just like drop down Yutakayama half rank, move Hide no Umi ahead of him there. Like, it's not like Endo and Oki no Umi where we don't want to move them because it's just going to cause chaos and horrible things to happen for the rest of the Banzuke. Like, nothing bad's going to happen if Yutakayama drops half a rank and you move Hide no Umi ahead of him. Like, just, he got a losing record, just move him down. It's not going to hurt anything in the future. Just do it. Even though I had Yutakayama dropping further down, I had him as Magashira 16 West.
But that's
Oh,
fine.
no.
You're totally unbiased, though.
Yeah. No, don't worry about that.
Magashira 16 East, we have Kaisei, who is our final COVID Rikishi. And so we were 5 for 5 in predicting the COVID Rikishi to not go anywhere. And at Magashira 16 West, you have Dayamami. Dayamami will be jumping up 1 rank from Juryo 1 after an 8-7 record. There was another line from Twitter that I saw. And once again, I'm not going to credit it to anybody because I don't want to credit it to the wrong person.
You should start writing those down.
No.
Okay.
Just blatant no.
Fair enough.
No, I think this was actually somebody on Reddit, but the comment was, you either die a mommy or live long enough to see yourself become the poppy.
Yeah, I hope if he ever like gets promoted like to Sanyaku or Ozeki or something, he becomes Dia Poppy.
I would prefer die a daddy.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay. All right, never mind. You're 100% right on this one. Yep, no, that's 100% better.
And so, okay, we just went through the Makuuchi division. We talked about all 5, I guess technically 6 COVID Rikishi, because Hakuho was also one of the COVID Rikishi. Obviously, he stayed at where he was at.
At his career high, by the way.
is true.
Tied for career high, but yeah.
But so what was the hubbub about Rikishi dropping down a rank that were held out due to COVID? Well, as we suspected, that all came to fruition at the very top of the Juryo rankings, where it was like 5 of the top 8 Rikishi were absent. So what ended up happening is Ishiura, Enho, Chiyo no O, and Chiyomaru all dropped one rank to make room for Tokushoryu, Aqua, and Daishomaru. So Tokushoryu and Aqua are 2 of the Juryo demotees from the Makuuchi division. And Daishomaru had an 11-4 record from Juryo 8, and so he needed to end up towards the top of the Juryo rankings. The other guy that is dropping down from Juryo is Sada no Umi.
To Juryo.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, and looking down the rest of the Juryo rankings here, it looks like basically everybody who sat out did get demoted in Juryo.
Okay. I didn't look too hard at it.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna. Yeah, but Kyoku Taisei, Chio Otori, Wakamoto Haru, like all these guys got down like 1 rank or a half a rank or something. So it looks like the situation was a little bit more complicated down there. But at least in Makuuchi, as we discussed before in our prediction, like it kind of just made sense to leave everybody where they were at.
Yep. I'm actually curious if we go down to Makushita. I know Hoku Seiho, he sat out, so he was Makushita 15 last time, and he is Makushita 15 this time. So
Koto Kuzan is Makushita 3 East, 0-7, and he stayed there. So I imagine that he's another one.
So it looks like, based on a total of 2 cases, from a lot more than 2 cases, it looks
Hokaho,
like
Chiyo Arashi. Oh, another Chiyo. So yeah, I'm sure that's the same situation. Waka Takamoto. It looks like there's actually a lot of them down there that did stay at the same rank. And scrolling through Juryo and Makushita, there were a lot more people than we even realized. that were sitting out for sure.
But yeah, it's good that they kept those lower guys at their same ranks. Jake, you had a quick note about one of our Juryo demotees.
Who's that? Oh, Tokushoryu. I was saving my energy from the later thing where I have to give you shit. But Tokushoryu, I apologize. I read this on Twitter, and then Twitter did that thing where it automatically refreshed, and I lost who it was that said it, and I couldn't find it again.
I've actually also seen this on Twitter. It was Sumo Follower.
Thank you. Sumo Follower. Thank you. Tokushoryu, 5 basho from Yusho to Juryo is a record. Wow. Nobody else has gone from Yusho to Juryo that quickly.
Absolutely nobody could have predicted it.
No one could possibly have predicted that. Possibly the least accomplished Yusho winner in recent history could possibly have set the record for dropping to Juryo, where he kind of belongs, as quickly as he did.
Hey, not going to make any new fans of the podcast talking bad about Tokushoryu.
No.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, Fleric brings the Tokushoryu love whenever he's on the show, and it's his loss not being on this one.
Yeah. So let's just take a look at how I did overall. First, we're going to take a look at it through the Guess the Banzuke, the big Banzuke guessing game. Run by Kintama Yama. And so if we look at it through that vein, I got 28 bullseyes out of a possible 42. So that's 2/3 of all Rikishi I placed at the exact correct rank. My previous best was 72%. So,
pretty
that's
close.
Pretty good. And then I also had 4 at the correct rank, but on the wrong side. And so that's 32 Rikishi total at the correct rank for 76%, which is pretty decent. And then we also had Mac. Mac also did do a prediction for this one. Mac, how did the computer do on this one? I know
the computer did not like this one, especially since I had to disable the algorithm and go, okay, frozen ranks. I haven't taught it how to read that yet. So we're just going to have to assume math. And
don't bother teaching it. It's not going to, well, it could happen again.
It could happen. And I am slowly teaching it a new trick. I have introduced another variable in the time that we were talking. So, but no, the computer did not like this one.
I'm picturing Mac out in the yard with a riding crop, hitting a computer in Human Centipede, just, you will learn.
You are going to learn. I will teach you.
But I mean, in the computer's defense, it did get 23 bullseyes out of a possible 42. So it did get 55%, 2 more at the correct rank, but on the wrong side. So 25 total at the correct rank for 60%, which isn't bad, I will say. I mean, not as good as...
Oh, just you wait, Ryan. The machine will catch up.
Yeah, once there's not weird fluky things like 5 Rikishi.
So it's recall the last one. The machine did quite well.
Yeah, no, I know. And so I know some people want to see how they're doing against us against the Banzuke rankings. So for this basho, my Banzuke prediction was ranked 45 out of 124. Max was 97 out of 124. Mac, I was assuming that your chosen Shikona was Kawa.
Yes, it is Kawa.
Okay, I was correct in that. My overall rank in Guess the Banzuke rankings remains unchanged. I was 45th last time. I'm 45th still this time. Mac is debuting at 176 because, once again, he unfortunately did not get his prediction in last time where he would have finished first place.
Yes.
So when you say overall, is that is it like a running basho to basho kind of thing?
It's I think the past 6 basho is what
okay, cool.
Takes into account.
Cool.
So if we look at it through our metric, where it's just how far off overall were you from this Rikishi's overall placement, I had a total of 26 misses, which my previous best was 12. But this is actually tied for my second best prediction ever. And I actually don't even have to qualify this one by saying, yeah, I got all of the ranks wrong, but at least I got the order right, because I'm pretty sure my previous 2 best Banzuke predictions is when there was weird stuff with adding Komosubi ranks or whatever. So I had all the ranks wrong, but the order was generally there. They were just all at the wrong rank. This time did not have that issue. And so because we've had him on the podcast now, Leonard from the Tachi blog, I want to compare how I did to him on these Banzuke and see how I'm doing compared to him. So this one, I guess the Banzuke, he finished in 8th place because he had 22 bullseyes, but 8 at the. Am I looking at the right one?
If he finished 8th with only 22 bullseyes?
No, I'm not looking at the right one. Yeah, because no
way.
Hold on, let me get this pulled up. Why is it not showing the March results? Oh, well, he finished in like the top 10 again because he's really good at
because he's Leonard and he knows what he does.
Yeah.
And he also hates Daisho.
Well, no. So nobody out of all 124 submissions got Daisho at Komosubi. Nobody got that correct against the Banzuke.
Banzuke committee, hello!
This is like when every person in the class fails the test. It might be the teacher's fault.
The teacher goes, I don't understand. Why did you all miss this?
Wow. It's not me. It's the children that are wrong.
But if you look at my prediction versus Leonard's prediction through our metric, where you just base it on how many total ranks were they off by, I missed 26 total. Leonard missed 28 total. So who's the real Banzuke master?
Leonard.
Probably still him, but like by a smaller margin than before.
But by you shorten the gap just a little bit, Ryan.
It depends on if you value precision over accuracy.
Oh, whatever.
Leonard, if you're listening to this, I hope you are reaching very gingerly to your forehead and placing your palm at Ryan's comment.
Just saying, using the metric we've always used to score our Banzuke on this podcast, I did better than him. So looking at the Banzuke overall, my worst guess was Koto Shoho. Missed him by a total of 4 ranks or 2 numbered ranks. The biggest jumps up the Banzuke were Tsurugisho with a 10 rank jump, and then you had Shimano Umi and Koto Nawaka both at 7 rank jumps. The biggest drops were Toku Shoryu. So let's hit on Toku Shoryu real quick because it is interesting. Toku Shoryu had a 3-12 record from Maegashira 8. He dropped 9 ranks all the way down to Juryo number 1. Tochinoshin was Maegashira 3, had a 4-11 record, just one more win than Toku Shoryu. He only dropped 3 ranks. I know it's completely different based on where you are in the Banzuke and like how far you can drop people or need to drop people. And so they could afford to drop Toku Shoryu a lot farther than Tochinoshin to make things make sense. But it still is very interesting that Tochinoshin, one better win, dropped 6 fewer ranks than Toku Shoryu. Excuse me.
Such professionalism.
Indeed.
I'm so sorry. I've been fighting that for like the past 5 minutes.
Wow.
There is a mute button.
Yes.
I'm not practiced enough to use that. It's also surprised me. And then Koto Shoho
It's been
dropped.
5 minutes, but it surprised me.
I thought I was winning. That battle. Koto Shoho dropped 8 ranks. We will have 5 Rikshi at their career high. Shimano Umi, Koto Nawaka, Hoshoryu, Midori Fuji, and Aki Sayama. We will have 0 Rikshi making their Makuuchi debut. So for the first time in a very long time, we won't have any new profiles of Makuuchi debutantes on our preview edition. Snub of the Banzuke, there can be only one. It is, what's his name? Oh, we'll come back.
I want to say Larry?
I got this.
It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Shit.
Jonathan.
Yeah, we'll say Jonathan for now, and then we'll come back if we remember the actual name. I'm not 100% sure Jonathan isn't correct.
We'll fix it in post.
All right.
Yeah. And then the luck of the Banzuke, we had a few candidates. We had Shimano Umi jumping up 7 ranks after a 6-9 record. Miyogiryu jumping up 5 ranks after an 8-7 record. Tochinoshin dropping 3 ranks for his 4-11 record. And Yutakayama staying put after his 7-8 record. And I initially had Tochinoshin winning this, but after we talked about Miyogiryu and just his incredible streak over the past 2 basho of jumping up 1 rank despite a combined record of 12-18. The luck of the Banzuke goes to Mio Giryu.
Well deserved.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
And then, Jake, you want to feed me a little bit of crow for what you had predicted would be my worst guess.
It's not necessarily feeding you crow for something that you said on the podcast, but more so your arrogance in preparing this outline. So traditionally, Ryan makes me pick what I think will be the worst guess of his on the Banzuke prediction. And I've kind of morphed that segment into where I think will be the most interesting, or the thing that's most likely to be a little bit different, or just something where I have a differing opinion. And I thought in the prediction that they would bump Kaisei down in order to not give Yutakiyama quite so much of a demotion. Because I believe the way that you predicted it, Ryan, Yutakiyama would fall for just a 7 and 8. He would fall 3 slots and thus be behind Kaisei.
Yes.
And I thought that was a little bit cruel. I thought that was the only potential place where Kaisei, a COVID holdout, could be dropped down a half a rank just to make it like a little bit less mean to Yutakiyama. And I was like, I don't think that's right. I think it would be more fair if Kaisei dropped down a little bit just so that Yutakiyama didn't have quite so much a demotion. But the way that it shook out, Yutakiyama did end up in front of Kaisei just by staying put instead of, having a, let's see, Ryan, you predicted him to fall 3 total ranks or 3 total slots.
Yep.
To fall behind Kaisei. And instead he kind of just stayed where he was at.
Yeah.
So that one in the initial draft of this outline, Ryan was like, wrong, Kaisei stayed where he's at. So I have a full paragraph that I wrote about how technically Kaisei didn't get demoted, but I was still kind of right in my reasoning.
Yep, which I will grant you. So I believe the prize for if you got that right was a high five. So I think for the second podcast in a row, it's time for a virtual high five. And so 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that was so much better time than our bonus episode this weekend.
It took you 2 episodes, but you finally did it.
We need more practice.
At least we're getting high fives, Mac.
That is, well, you know what? I don't want to touch your hand. Social distancing.
That's fair. But if you are also a fan of high fives, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
Yeah, okay. Social media, blah, blah, blah. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Blog is grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you also want a blah, 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 give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO. Or, find us on Gmail at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com. Whatever, blah, social distance, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, all of that. The Haru preview episode will come out sometime in the middle of next week. The Basho starts Sunday, March 14th, so we will see everybody then.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time, throw your salt high
and keep moving forward.